feels so good to live in alignment with the energy of the earth and just kind of align what we're doing in our own personal lives with what is happening in nature. It's been so fun to continue to explore that. Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you are here for more fall, witchy, spooky season videos. But today I wanted to devote this whole video to talk about how I am celebrating Samhain, aka All Hallows Eve, aka Halloween, aka Dios de los Muertos. I mean, they're kind of all the same vibe, All Saints Day in the Catholic religion. I find it very interesting how pretty much all cultures are having some kind of holiday around the themes of Samhain. So I'm calling it Samhain, as I mentioned in my Witchy Habits video, because I've decided to celebrate all of the sabbaths. So the sabbaths coincide with like the wheel of the year, and they really are kind of breaking the year up into chunks. So you've got the winter solstice and the summer solstice. Those are the longest and shortest days of the year. And then in between that, you've got the autumn and the spring equinox. And then between those, so those are like the midpoint between each solstice, between the equinoxes and the solstice, or the solstice and the equinox, you've got midway points as well. So that's what Samhain is. It's the midway point between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. And it's really just the vibe of like this in-between time. And it's really a time where they say the veil between the physical and non-physical is very thin, which we are, you know, physical beings, but there's also a non-physical aspect to us as well. Think of like your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, right? Like those are non-physical things that we embody. But this is really a time where that veil between the worlds is even thinner. And I like this analogy of, think of like dawn or dusk or twilight, where it's like in between night and day. Like it's just different outside. Like the lighting is different, the mood is different. And that's kind of how this time is. And something else I've realized, celebrating Halloween or Samhain or All Hallows Eve or All Saints Day, whatever it may be, is really more of a season than a particular day, because the actual midway point, I believe this year, is maybe around November 8th. I will check that and put it below whatever day it actually is. So it's really like that season, those weeks around that time, that you can feel this energy. So don't worry if you're not watching this on Halloween on October 31st. I think you can embody this energy really any of the weeks surrounding this time. So I'm going to share some things that I have been doing and will be doing to leverage the energy of Samhain. Now, the first thing that I have already started to do and will continue to do is connect with my ancestors. So again, you see this reflected in Dios de los Muertos, in the Latin tradition and culture. You see this in a lot of Halloween cultures as well. Think of like the ghosts and the spooky stuff that come along with Halloween. Again, going back to the fact that the veil is very thin, it can be a lot easier to communicate with spirits or your ancestors. And I don't think this needs to be like a spooky thing or a scary thing. Like, you can really work with your ancestors to maybe like clear things from your past, or clear things that have happened in your family, or they can help you like work towards your goals or the things that you're trying to accomplish. So I think that can be really beneficial. Something I did recently, and I haven't always been able to do this because I have lived away from my hometown, but this year I was in my hometown. So I went to the cemetery where my grandparents and great-grandparents and other family members are buried, and we just went during the day, and it was total fall vibes there. The trees were gorgeous, and just went and acknowledged like my family, which I know we do that like on Memorial Day or Labor Day, one of those days, or sometimes people go out there for other holidays, but I think this is one we should start going out there for as well. You can go and leave offerings, which again, I know a lot of people do for Dios de los Muertos. You can go and just like talk to them. I went and was really trying to use my third eye, and I truly felt like I could visualize them or feel their energy there. And it was such a warm, caring energy. I mean, they're my grandparents, so it's just that warm, caring energy. And then after that, I went back to my mom's house, and both of my grandparents were actually artists. So we went and got some of their paintings out, and we're going to take those to our new house. So just another beautiful way to honor them and to decorate our house. And it just felt really aligned to do that. So you don't have to go to a graveyard. You don't have to like get their stuff out. But think of ways that you can start connecting with your ancestors or communicating with them or just honor them. Like I said, a major theme of this season is death and the other side and what happens after death. And that doesn't have to be scary. That could be something we can celebrate and memorialize. That's a hard word. Instead of being scared of. And I think connecting with your ancestors, or even like researching your lineage or where your family is originally from, this can be just a beautiful time to do that. And ask them for help, for guidance on the things that you are working towards. I do that all the time, and I am greatly inspired by my two grandmothers on my maternal and paternal side. I feel like things that they were into greatly align with my message here on my channel and on my podcast. And sometimes I just imagine them listening to my podcast or having conversations with them about this, because I did back in the day, and I wasn't even as like into this stuff as I was, but they were just like a huge impact on what I do now. Like in my childhood, they would talk about these things. My grandma was really into Buddhism. My other grandma would listen to Art Bell. I think that radio show was taken over by George Norrie. That took me a second to think of him. And he is now on Gaia, and he covers so many woo topics or spiritual topics or just out there topics. And I just imagine both of my grandmas being right by my side and helping me in this journey. And every once in a while, I will like smell a smell that reminds me of them, or I'll just get certain signs from them. I'll see something and I know that is a sign for them. So especially during this time is a great time to leverage that connection with your ancestors or with other spirits that you may want to be working with. Now, the next thing I am doing to celebrate Samhain, and this is a very common way to celebrate Samhain or Halloween, is to dress up. I absolutely love dressing up. I've said this in every video, but like Halloween has always been my holiday, and now that I know like the deeper meaning, and now that I'm celebrating Samhain, which is just a more ancient version of Halloween, I still love to dress up. I still love to bring in those modern ways of celebrating the holiday, which I think they used to do that. There's probably a lot more to the tradition of dressing up. But to me, it's like a way to step into other versions of ourselves, or maybe to show other versions of ourselves, or to show shadow sides of ourselves, or to just really honor the different facets of who we are, because we are multi-dimensional beings. So it's like dressing up is just another way to kind of honor those different versions of yourself. This year, I'm going to be an alien along with Steven, and then Arlo's going to be an astronaut, which I just love that theme. And to be honest, I feel like it's not that much of a costume. I have a feeling that I was an alien. Maybe my soul came from a different planet. I just have that intuitive feeling. So again, it's kind of like honoring different versions of yourself. And I've had many different costumes over the years. I will show some on here, and it's really fun. And I think it's a good way to let your inner child out. Like, never stop dressing up if it aligns with you. It definitely aligns with me. There were a few years in my adult life that I didn't dress up, but pretty far and few between. Like, I always dress up now, and I love to theme us as a family now, so that'll be fun as Arlo continues to get older. So I encourage you to dress up if you're wanting to for this Samhain or Halloween. It's just such a great way to address and embrace and acknowledge all the different sides of you. Now, the next thing I will be focusing on, which is a major theme of the season of fall, of Scorpio season, which is the zodiac sign we are in, which is letting things go. I mean, look out in nature. That is what's happening right now with the trees and the leaves. They are doing it so naturally, so beautifully. So this is a really powerful time to just kind of like slow down, check back in with yourself, especially during the full moon, which is happening this Saturday, the 28th, which I think this video is coming out afterwards, but you can still leverage that energy along with the lunar eclipse that happened with that. So it kind of magnifies that energy. It's just taking inventory and seeing if there are any habits or any aspects or any things in your life right now that are ready to be released. Like, allow them to be released. This doesn't need to be a forceful thing, but it's okay to let certain things in your life die. Like that is what the Scorpio does. He sheds, or she sheds their skin when they are growing. Like we are growing all the time, just like the Scorpio, just like other animals that molt. And you may need to shed your skin. You may need to shed things that are no longer serving you. So just like take some time to reflect on that. A good like ritual or ceremony you could do is just like meditate on it, maybe write out the things that you want to release, and then go and rip up that paper or burn that paper. That is something I will be doing probably this weekend during the full moon or during this Samhain season. And again, like the word death or the idea of death or things dying, not even like in the literal meaning, but the symbolic meaning. Like even the trees seem to be dying, even though they're not. They're just going into hibernation. Like this isn't something to be feared. We're going into a time that we are going to rest up before we are reborn again in the spring. So really just kind of like feel into that energy. It feels so good to live in alignment with the energy of the earth and just kind of align what we're doing in our own personal lives with what is happening in nature. It's been so fun to continue to explore that. Now, the last thing I'm going to be doing to celebrate Samhain is to really practice grounding and being grateful. So a way I've been doing this recently is just going outside and again, looking at nature, looking at the trees. I've said this in almost every video, but this is the first time I've been able to see a full fall like in real life, because we've been living in Arizona and they don't necessarily have fall like they do here in the Midwest. We're in the St. Louis area and the trees are just gorgeous right now. And every time I go outside and look at them, I'm truly in awe, and I'm just so grateful that I get to witness that. So that's a tiny way that I'm practicing that. But even it was my birthday yesterday, I used that time to just be so grateful for all that I have in my life right now, in this season of my life. And it parallels too with the Sabbath. It's all about like being grateful for what we harvested. Like that's literally what they used to do back in the day, and some people still do that are harvesting things. But it's like, what have you harvested this season that you can be so grateful for? And I think it is also a beautiful time to ground before we head into winter, into the dark time of the year. Really ground in what is important to us, to our values, what we want to embody as we end this year. And I actually heard somewhere that this is actually like the witch's new year, which there are so many different new years, right? Like there's the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year, the New Year that we celebrate here in the States. So it's just something to ponder, and if it feels aligning to you, maybe explore that. But like just ground into what is important to you in the season and what you are so grateful for. So I hope you guys found this video interesting. Again, I've just been loving exploring the different Sabbaths, and I love to celebrate them in my own way. I love to research what other people are doing. This is definitely a more witchy way to celebrate the different seasons, but it just feels so good and so aligning to align with nature. So if you like this video, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Maybe share how you are celebrating this Samhain, maybe some different ideas that I didn't think of, or things that you are loving from this, like all these fall videos that I've been posting. Also, make sure if you did like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. That's just such an easy, free way to support what I'm doing here, and I'm so appreciative and grateful for all of you that are watching and liking and subscribe to my channel. So sending you all so much love, all the highest vibes, and of course I will see you in the next video.